And welcome to the first episode of the new year, January 6, 2021, and 2021 has already started off. Woo, man, as we're taping this right now, there's some people rushing the Capitol building in DC right now. They're just completely trying to take over the Capitol building, and yeah, that's what's currently happening in DC as we are recording. You know why?
Oh, you mean Trump supporters over there?
Pretty much.
You mean so white folks acting a fool?
Pretty much. Last I checked, if you rush the Capitol building and you try to get in there, you're supposed to get popped on sight. But apparently, rules apply for certain people. So that's what's going on right now in DC. There's some crazy stuff happening. The NFL season came to an end on Sunday. There was some crazy stuff that a lot of teams had stuff to play for. First, we'll start off with the Patriots' first losing season since 2000. I think 2000.
No, I think Brady had to lose. Oh yes, I mean Brady had a couple. He had a couple seasons he made the playoffs.
Only once.
I think he had more than one. He got injured one year. Then one year that they was trash. One year they didn't make the playoffs.
They were still 9-7.
Did they make the playoffs?
No.
All right then. So it was a couple, two, more than one.
But yeah, the last time they didn't win, they had an under 500 record. I think it was 2000.
All right.
Yeah, if I'm either 99 or 2000, one of those. Belichick's first 2 years or something like that. But a lot of questions for this team going into the offseason. Quarterback, they've already made the announcement he won't be returning. A lot of guys not sure who's coming back or not. A lot of guys that didn't play last that opted out. Don't know if they're going to come back. So there's... Going into the offseason, there's a lot of question marks with this team.
Yeah, which is expected. I wasn't tripping off how the year went. It could have been a lot worse. So we did the best of what we had. We didn't have much at all.
Yeah.
So, like, honestly, we just have to stop being spoiled fans, man. We just got to come to the realization that we had the best run that any NFL team will have, 20-year run, and we just got to start over from scratch.
Yeah, the biggest thing that they need to figure out is what they're gonna do about quarterback. They got the 15th pick in the draft, so they might be able to get a skilled position player because they won't get a quarterback at that spot. I think the three best quarterbacks will be gone by then in the draft. So there's some free agent quarterbacks coming up. Maybe they bring Cam back to see and change the whole offense around. Like get guys that are, that can get open. So I think they got like $60 million in cap space or something like that. So they got money to spend in the offseason, but it's just a lot of question marks. Nobody knows what's gonna happen, especially with the guys that sat out that people don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and the thing with Cam too is like he has a skill, but then it's like when has he been Cam? There's been some times that he's been Cam, so he can have all the tools in the world. He might just not be Cam anymore compared to what we're used to seeing.
I think that shoulder injury really messed him up.
You know what I mean?
Well, it was that shoulder injury and then COVID. I think since he had COVID, everything went downhill because there was some hope after the second game, even though they lost. But there was some hope. They got some things going on offense. Then what happened? They beat Oakland next week. Then he gets COVID. Edelman gets hurt, done for the season, and running backs. A lot of it's just been a lot of shuffling and stuff. So this team, it's just been a year of adjustment for them, to be honest, because they just could never get anything going. And when they did, it was like they'll get something going and then boom, something happens.
That's why I wasn't stressing about how the year went, because it was like for them to what they go
7-9,
7-9 with all the issues they had. You lost your Hall of Fame quarterback. You lost all your receivers, basically. You had a guy retire on you and then come out of retirement on some clown stuff. So it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like they did the best of what they had.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens next year. But, I mean, 7-9, whatever. I mean, a lot of people weren't even expecting football to be played this year. So, hey.
Well, not the Jets.
Well, yeah, at least
or the Jags.
Yeah,
we 7-9 with nothing.
At least they were competitive. I'll say this: they were competitive. They were competitive all year long. That's one thing to say about them. Besides a couple games, like 2 games, but most games they were competitive. Cleveland Browns ended their playoff losing streak, but in the most Cleveland Browns thing to happen after that, their head coach won't be coaching Sunday because he contracted COVID, and a few other people on the team got COVID too. So this is just like This is like the most Cleveland thing that could happen to them.
I could have swore I just saw something about Cleveland being in the clear. I could have swore I just saw it on ESPN. I was trying to find it before you said that.
Yeah, I'm not sure,
but honestly, this to me it feels more like Pittsburgh just gave them this game, but you have to also win it. So Browns are making steps. Granted, they had the guy Rudolph. You know he was willing to give the Browns the game, but like end of the day, you step on the field, you play against who's out there.
Normally Cleveland, if somebody was willing to give them a game, they'd lose it. But yeah, the head coach still ain't gonna be there.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just
with
going
the players.
I think
That's what the NFL dealing with COVID is just a little weird because.
What you mean a little weird? A little worse. What you mean like?
You contract it, then like so all of a sudden it's like a week later you could be around the guys again. I'm like, yo, they said 10, 14 days. You got to quarantine yourself.
Now let's just. I want to touch on the elephant in the room. They're trying to squeeze as much out of football as they can, bro. Because this football season for college football, NFL has been a debacle. Is that the right word?
Yeah, man. It's a $1 billion industry. They're
trying to squeeze as much as they can out, and it's making them look ridiculous, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there's some more COVID stuff we're gonna get into later, but yeah, for the Browns, kudos to them for making the postseason. But then, what's your reward? You got to go to Cleveland. You got to go to Pittsburgh, a place you haven't won in forever. I think the last time they played in the playoffs, they played Pittsburgh in 2002 in the wild card. It was the wild card round. I think Kelly Holcomb was the quarterback.
Kelly Holcomb. I know it's Corey.
It was Kelly Holcomb. Kelly Holcomb, Dennis Northcutt. I think Willie Green from Boston College was on that team too. That was the last time they did it. So it's gonna be tough because now, these two teams pretty much know each other. But the fact is, can you win in Pittsburgh, a place you haven't won yet? The only bright spot is Pittsburgh's defense lost, I think, 2 or 3 of their best defensive players. So their defense has looked suspect the past couple of weeks.
And the mental pot is coming into Pittsburgh with a win under your belt against Pittsburgh, regardless of who was quarterback. Just because I
think that game was in Cleveland.
Well, no, but they're going to Pittsburgh, right? Yeah. So you're going to Pittsburgh with a little motivation. You actually beat them, regardless of who the quarterback was. You know what I mean? So it's like they have a little bit of, I want to say, some false confidence. Because, like, granted, Roethlisberger should have played, but you want to save him.
He's like 40.
No, I'm saying you want to save him, cool, but it's one of them things. It's like, we beat them, but now it's like the prime time guys came, like kind of like with Clemson, with Lawrence. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That whole team of Cleveland is just full of guys with they're cut with like crazy confidence. Is like you just look at it like, why are you so confident? But I mean, they'll make it. That's a good thing. They'll make. I think this will be an interesting game. It'll be an interesting playoff game because of that running attack for Cleveland. Because
they might win.
They might. It's that running game. That's the thing for me about Cleveland. That running game. Oh my goodness, the Eagles. I mean, granted, they weren't making the playoffs anyways, but for the nonsense that they pulled on Sunday, like I have no idea. Everybody's trying to figure out what happened. I mean, you have this rookie quarterback. You wanted him to finish the season. You want him to get the reps to see what he can do because. The quarterback the $100 million quarterback's not coming back next year, so you might as well let this guy finish the game, see what he can, make more improvements, just get more game reps, and then you pull him in a 14-17 game for a guy that's just not that good, and the reasoning is you wanted to get some looks for him.
They're friends. That's the only vibe I got. Like they have a friendship compared to like player coach.
Yeah.
Cause like was it the backup?
Yeah. Like the third string.
Anyway, you said it like I want to give him some reps. He's been here. It's like, bro, there ain't no sympathy reps in NFL. you all get played to be good enough to get on the field. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is young. He should have been getting his reps because he's trying to play for a stop this next year.
Yeah.
That guy ain't starting nowhere. Or being a backup. He's a backup.
Yeah.
He holds the clipboard. You don't even have the headset on. But his ends, like, how's that coach still got a job?
I mean, they already announced that he's going to be returning next season, so that's crazy. But yeah, this is one of the. Granted, they were out of the playoffs. They ain't got nothing to play for. But if that was the case, then you should have never even started Hurts. You should have just have him in street clothes like you did Wentz. Just if this was what you were going to pull in this game, at the end of it, you might as well just like, okay, get ready for next season. You just watch.
You know what's crazy though? How are they showing? What's that guy's name? The third quarterback?
Sudfeld.
How they showing him this veteran respect when they don't even show Hall of Fame guys the respect in their career? They be kicking them out the door.
They don't even show their $100 million quarterback this type of respect.
That is my point. So like, there's something way up. There's something underlying here. Like they got like I don't want to say relationship, but a good friendship, like camaraderie. Something's off. It don't make no sense to us.
Well, yeah, Carson Wentz. Well, the reports are he's not coming back. He's seeking for a trade because he said the relationship with the coach is just like he doesn't rock with the coach. Jalen Hurts, he could see it in the game. He was just saying this ain't right. It ain't right what he's doing. Like it went on the sideline, and some players went on the radio just talk about their confusion or just not happy of how things went out. And then we got the New York Giants complaining that the Eagles pretty much tanked the game and cost them a chance to make it to the playoffs. And everybody just like, y'all were 6-10. Y'all cost yourselves a chance to make the playoffs. Don't sit here and try to blame the Eagles for you guys not making the playoffs. Like, if that was the case, you would have been.
Yo, I had a great conversation with Greg. You know what I mean? He talks about how the old generation tries to act like the new generation.
Yeah.
And the new generation has no accountability.
Yeah.
So if you're old enough to realize that you are not part of the new generation, just understand, you step on the field and you lose, it is your fault. It ain't nobody else's fault but yours. Yeah. Don't be part of this new generation and blaming the lights, the lines on the field, everything else but yourself. Like you put your cleats on the field, you lose, take the L and go home.
Yeah, talking about all that complaining that Giants players were doing, the coaches were doing, it was just like, y'all need to look at y'all had more than enough opportunities. Y'all was in the number one spot in the NFC East, and then y'all blew 2 games. That's the only reason this whole thing happened. You guys blew 2 games to put yourselves in a position to completely just win the division because they weren't in first place in the division. Washington just won the games that they needed to. So I don't understand New York.
Nobody played the game but them.
Yeah, for a 6-10 team to be complaining about another team tanking a game and costing them a postseason play is just ridiculous.
And just we were always taught as a whole, like in sports, if you do your job as a team, it shouldn't matter what other teams do and don't do.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
and
what?
The Giants didn't do enough as a team. They had enough games that they could have won, but they just had too many mistakes. And even in this game, they almost blew this game because they had a run for the first down to seal it, and they fumbled it. It looked like Dallas recovered it, but replay showed that the Giants recovered it, so they almost fumbled this game away too.
And before the show started, I'm like, who wins a game going 0-7 on third downs? Yeah, like it's just a weird stat. Like, but only Dallas would let you win because they're trash.
Yeah, and the Cowboys have missed the playoffs again for another season with all that talent. Granted, their quarterback was hurt, but we don't even know if their starting quarterback was in. They'd make the playoffs because they'd be falling behind. 20, 21 points, 28 points, they be falling down line big. So
what happened to Zeke?
I
mean, you got Dalton, your leading running back.
I don't know what happened.
What? I don't understand. Like, why do you even have these guys on the roster? You're gonna let you're gonna let him Dalton run that much?
I have no idea.
I don't get it.
I don't know what happened to Zeke. He just hasn't been the same guy the past couple seasons. It's just like. When he was up, but then it's just been like, since he got that contract, it's just been decline.
So did Jerry know something that we didn't?
I don't know, but this is why a lot of people don't like paying running backs, because stuff like this happens. They get hurt or their production doesn't equate to what they used to, so they just, that's why they get the good 4 years out of them, then, buy, trade them.
And that's why Chris Johnson did that big thing with his contract, right?
Yeah.
Getting the money, just getting it and going.
Yeah, pretty much. So, and the Cowboys, it's like last year they were blaming Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett got blamed for everything. He got blamed for them missing the playoffs. Granted, Jason Garrett was he's a Giants offensive coordinator, so, he was probably dancing after this game.
Oh, yeah.
And now you lose this game, and who are you going to blame now? You're going to blame Mike McCarthy because he showed he's not that good of a head coach anymore. I don't know what happened to him. Like, he used to be a good coach, and then, I don't know.
Sometimes you just lose connection, man.
Literally, he lost connection, got all that talent, all those guys, I mean, I think I talked to this with somebody. You put Belichick with that team, those guys are winning 12, 13 games. Even with the backup, they're making the playoffs even with the backup. So you got to look at the coach, you got to look at the GM, and you got to look at the players because because it's also their fault. They spent all that money on offense and defense. And there was too many games. You were just like, yo, why are you guys down 35-10 right now? Why are you guys down 28-3?
And Jerry distributed that money amongst the team. Like, positions, we were like, why are you paying that guy? Yeah. You kind of see why we was asking questions.
Yeah, so this is why the Cowboys, we just laugh at them too, because it's like, dude, y'all haven't... every year when it's like they need certain games to make the playoffs, they always just, it's like they got a curse or something on them. Okay, so... Derrick Henry, he eclipsed 2,000 yards this past weekend against the Texans. I mean, the Texans. Ooh, I feel bad for Deshaun Watson, but this guy, he's had over 300 carries the past 2 seasons. That's over 600 carries, and when running backs get all those carries, the league start looking at him and it's not trying to pay them. Granted, they didn't even give him that contract yet. But the Titans, they're going into postseason. They're like offensively, their defense kind of, but offensively, these guys might be, they might surprise people. They might, because one game postseason.
I mean, they surprised us last year by going as deep as they did. So I wouldn't be surprised by. Then this year, even though they had a little drop back with their defense, their offense is still a powerhouse. So for the end, they know how to win. Yeah. When you already made to the big game, the next year you kind of understand the formula. It's just if you guys follow it or not.
Yeah, and the thing about the Titans is looking at this game, they ran the ball 41 times, they threw it 27 times. That is a good balance right there. Yeah. And it's like Derrick Henry wears you down because he's just so big. And then when he gets into open space, it's like, how's he moving that pass? Why can't we catch him? Because it's not.
And it's one of them things where a running back is less likely to fumble than the quarterback is throw it into. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you want to rely a little more on your running backs and your quarterbacks. Your quarterbacks are your big play guys, but your running backs keep things stable.
Yeah, definitely. So this is a wild card weekend. It's setting up to be one interesting weekend. We'll get right into that right after this. So, but first we're going to go to the Fantasy No Huddle with Craig.
What up, everybody, and welcome to No Huddle here on After the Whistle. It's your boy Craig here to give you my playoff predictions of the week. So, first game of the week, Colts versus the Bills. And to be honest with you, of this week, this might be the best matchup. You got 2 strong defenses going up against each other. Advantage Bills, they have a stud of a quarterback in Josh Allen. This kid is amazing. He's going to do big things in the future. If he could stay healthy, the sky is the limit. And then on the Colts side of the ball, you got Phillip Rivers, a guy whose career is on the downward spiral, might be his final year, so he's playing for a lot. Both these teams are going to have a strong game. I think it's going to be very competitive, but I got to give the edge to the Bills. I don't like teams from New York. You should know that if you know me, but I'm going to give advantage Bills. Rams versus Seahawks. Originally, I would have probably called this game for the Rams just because their defense is so strong and they have an explosive offense. But with the likelihood of Jared Goff not playing, I got to go advantage Russell Wilson. Letting Russ cook has been a recipe for greatness, and I think that the Seahawks are going to get the ball early and often, giving them so many opportunities to score that I think the Seahawks are going to edge this one out. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Washington football team, and this is a no-brainer. That defense is going to be tough for Tom Brady. They're going to be giving him pressure all night, but their offense isn't strong enough to beat the Bucs. I think the Bucs is going to take this one hands down. Next, another great matchup, but not as great as Bills versus Colts, but still pretty great. It's the revenge game. Ravens versus Titans. Last year, the Titans upset the Ravens to knock them out of contention for to move on in the playoffs. And guess what? I believe they're going to do it again. King Henry is running amok. Homeboy broke 2,000 yards, one of only, I believe, 5 players to do it in the time of Super Bowl. And I believe that Derrick Henry is going to continue. A.J. Brown and Corey Davis are both finding their way. It's pretty awesome setup they got going on there. And Ryan Tannehill is showing you why he got paid the money. The boy is good. He's back. He's healthy. And he's ready to go lay up in the end zone. Bears versus the Saints. even though this can be a relatively cool matchup, I believe the Saints are going to take this one. Drew Brees is back. He's ready to roll. Michael Thomas is supposed to be in the game. And if Michael Thomas is in the game, they're absolutely going to take this. With no Michael Thomas, and if Alvin Kamara doesn't play, this could be a wishy-washy game. It could go to the Bears, but right now I'm going to still call it for the Saints. Finally, Browns, Steelers. Another great matchup, divisional rivalry. This game is going to be tough. Browns don't have a head coach, but the Steelers do have Big Ben back. It's a tough matchup, and I'm gonna say I gotta go with the Steelers. You know, they've done a lot to get where they're at. They started to dwindle down towards the end of the season. I think they resurged for one last game to get themselves into the next round of the playoffs, but I don't know if they make it further than that. So I'm calling it for the Steelers. So I got the Bills, I got the Seahawks, I got the Bucks, I got the Titans, the Saints, and the Steelers. So with that being said, you know, a lot of talk about what the Patriots are going to do next year. I just wanted to throw in a couple little tidbits of what I thought should happen. A couple players I think they should go after. I think they should trade for Carson Wentz. I think I like Carson Wentz a lot. I think he struggled behind a terrible offensive line, and the Patriots definitely protect their quarterback. In the run game, I also like for them to trade for Kareem Hunt. I think they could get him for about a third-round draft pick, maybe send Sony Michel along with it. But I like that kid. Allen Robinson's a free agent. I'm really excited about that. I think he would be a perfect fit. He's one of those guys who just comes in and does his job. And then finally, another wide receiver I'm really liking is Juju Smith. I think Juju Smith is struggling as a number one. I think that if he came over to the New England Patriots and Allen Robinson at number one, and Juju at number two, I think big things could happen for all parties involved. So that's my hope for the season. Trevor Lawrence to the Jaguars is pretty exciting as well. We'll see what happens. Until next week, I'll see you on No Huddle. Back to After the Whistle.
And we are back. All right. Sports update with Mia Lynn.
Good afternoon and welcome to this week's segment of New England Sports Scores and Updates. I'm Mia Lynn, and today I'll be breaking down the latest in the sports world over the last week. To start off, in college football playoff news, it's official. It will be a national championship matchup of the Buckeyes of Ohio State versus the Alabama Crimson. Last week, both teams cruised to victories in blowout games. Number 3 Ohio State was led by Justin Fields in their 49-28 victory over the number 2 seeded Clemson Tigers in the Sugar Bowl. Fields threw for 385 yards and 6 touchdowns. Trey Sermon rushed for 193 yards and a touchdown, and Chris Olave recorded 2 touchdowns. As for number 1 seeded Alabama, they were led by Mac Jones, Devonta Smith, and Najee Harris in their win over number 4 seeded Notre Dame, 31-14 in the Rose Bowl. Jones threw for 297 yards and 4 touchdowns. Harris rushed for 125 yards, and Smith notched 3 touchdowns. In Northeastern men's basketball news, the Huskies captured their 3rd win of the season on Sunday over the Phoenix of Elon in a final score of 66-58. Playing well for the Huskies were Shaquille Walters, who notched 15 points and 5 rebounds, Jason Strong, who recorded 17 points and 7 boards, and Tyson Walker, who also had 17 points and pulled down 5 rebounds. Northeastern now sits with a record of 3-5 as they prepare to take on the Hofstra Pride Thursday night at 5 p.m. In other NCAA men's basketball news, the Boston College men's basketball team fell to the Louisville Cardinals in an ACC matchup this past weekend. The final score of that game was 64-76. Despite this loss, the Eagles had strong performances from Jay Heath, who notched 20 points and 2 assists, Winston Tabbs, who recorded 15 points and 3 boards, Makai Ashton Langford, who had 13 points and 2 rebounds, and Stephon Mitchell, who had a balanced game with 6 rebounds and 9 points. The Eagles now stand with a 2-7 record as they get ready to take on the number 21 ranked Duke Blue Devils tonight at 8:30 p.m. Lastly, the Boston Celtics recorded their 5th win of the season Monday night when they faced the Toronto Raptors in front of a crowd for the first time since March. Despite trailing the Raptors in the first quarter, The Seas were able to march back and claim victory in a final score of 126-114. With Marcus Smart and Jeff Teague out, Tremont Waters filled this starting spot, while rookie Peyton Pritchard had himself a night, playing 32 minutes and notching a career-high 23 points along with 8 assists and 2 rebounds. Jason Tatum also had a monster performance with 40 points, just 1 point shy from his career high, 6 rebounds and 2 assists. Now sitting with a 5-3 record, the Celtics will look to notch another win tonight when they face the Miami Heat at 7:30 p.m. That's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next week for another segment of New England Sports Scores and Updates. Now back to After the Whistle.
All right, and we are back. Thank you, Mia, for that. All right, we're going to get into some of these postseason matchups. All right, the Bears made the playoffs. Biggest shocker of all.
I've been betting on the Bears. Not betting on, but I've been picking the Bears recently.
We both ain't been picking them.
I picked them a couple times when Trubisky came back. I picked the Bears a couple times.
No, we both didn't pick them. I'm telling you, we both didn't pick them.
I picked them a couple games.
So the Bears are taking on the Saints, and the Saints have a problem because I think Alvin Kamara contract was tested positive for COVID. Well, right now he's on the COVID list. So
with the Bears, anyways.
So right now it's not looking like he's gonna play Sunday, and Alvin Kamara is their offense. He is everything. Their offense goes through him. The Bears, I don't know what to make of the Bears. They're supposed to have a good defense, but their defense is like here and there, and they gotta go on the road. These two teams played earlier in the season. Granted, it was in Chicago. Now they're playing in New Orleans, but just the Bears making the playoffs is the biggest shocker to me.
Kudos to the Bears making the playoffs. New Orleans, they don't care about Kamara. They gave him the ball one game, a lot, and he had 6 touchdowns?
Yeah.
What happened all season? We was talking about they need to give Kamara the ball.
They want to give those Taysom Hill reps.
So once again, like him not playing, yeah, please.
Yeah. It's just gonna mess it up. But once again, like I said with New Orleans, they comes down in the postseason. Drew Brees' arm just wears out at the end of the season. So even if they win this game, they got to travel. They probably got to go to like Green Bay or something. And they got to travel. They got to play in the cold, and that we know how they're just not a good road playoff team in the last 12 years.
They're a dome team, right?
Yeah. I think they got like a 1-7 road playoff record.
There aren't that many. Are there that many dome teams around? Or they're starting to like.
There's still.
I thought there was more years ago than there are now.
There's still some.
A couple, but like really, the dome teams really aren't that good.
At all, especially
they don't even play outside or practice outside. Like if you're in a dome and you know you have great, I want to say, weather conditions, go practice in awful ones. You can be prepared in end of the season. Yeah, in the playoffs.
You know those warm weather states. You know how those people in the warm weather states are. All right, another NFC matchup: the Rams and the Seahawks. This is a division rival. This one's sure to be epic. But Jared Goff, he needs to he is the Achilles heels for the Rams, because I said it before, they got great defense, they got a bunch of skilled players, and the quarterback is holding them back pretty much. The quarterback's holding them back, and you're going up against a quarterback who doesn't hold his team back, who just makes plays, and Russell Wilson up there in Seattle. So it's going to be tough. I want to see how the Rams do it, but if they can do it, it's got to be with their running game.
Yeah, definitely. I pick the Seahawks a lot, so I got the utmost confidence in them.
Yeah, especially when they play at home. I don't think they've lost the playoff game at home under Russell Wilson. I'm going to look that up, but I don't think that he's lost a home playoff game yet. I think all his loss has been on the road. And as for the Rams, it's a matter of can you stop the DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. That's it for the Rams, and get to the quarterback. Those are the things.
I mean, they got the personnel up front to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's all about if they win that battle.
Yeah, and also how long the time of possession, because I don't care how great of a defense you are, if you keep going back on the field, and your offense isn't doing nothing, then you're just gonna get tired. That's just natural. So I have no idea what's gonna happen. We'll have our predictions in a bit at the end of the show, but there's a lot of like games this weekend that might set up for an upset. So another one that I think might be an upset too is the Bucks versus Washington.
Oh yeah.
The Bucks right now, though, I'll say this about the Bucks: offensively, they've actually started hitting their groove, doing that. They've actually been doing what we've been telling them to do, run the ball, play action, and that's been working. Ronald Jones, and they're using Jones and Fournette, and all the receivers they're getting in tune with Brady. Mike Evans became the first receiver to have 7 straight 1,000-yard season as a receiver. He was crazy because all the great receivers that came to the league, he's the first to do it. So Brady, he's getting all those guys the balls to make plays. So this is an intriguing team. And then Washington, that defense. They have what's been Brady's Achilles heel every time he loses, and that's a front four that could get to you.
Well, they say defense wins championships. Yeah. As cliche as that sounds, and Mike Evans, he's questionable for the playoff game, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure he's gonna.
I'm sure he played. Yeah, he probably won't be 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, people are kind of like not as gung-ho about the Buccaneers now because they see how up and down their season was. So we predicted kind of like had to win. They had to win. You know what I mean? Win what? 1 out of 3 games to make the playoffs. Yeah, 3 games. They had to win their last one or something like that to make the playoffs. Yeah. So like it wasn't. I want to say all roses like Brady thought it was going to be. So I just think the whole playoffs is going to be competitive. I don't see one team other than the Chiefs just kind of stomping on people personally because even the Bucs had a lot of brain dead moments this season.
Yeah, and the only thing with Washington is that they have good enough pieces on offense. It's just what are you going to get from the quarterback? Because coach is talking about maybe switching quarterbacks back and forth in this game, which never works, and you just need to have someone out there consistent. Alex Smith, I mean, he's been a great comeback story, but he can only give you so much, and for them, they really have to utilize their running backs. They got to utilize them and keep the Bucs offense on the sideline because if you don't get to the Bucs, if you don't get to Brady, those guys have just been running open in the secondary, and I think Gronk might be the key to this one because I don't think they're gonna try to let those guys get deep on him. So I think the middle of the field is probably the best way to attack this defense.
I know a lot of analysts feel like Washington can't score enough to keep up with the Bucs, but as long as that defense comes to play, they don't have to score that much.
Yeah, they don't have to score that much. They just have to not get so many 3 and outs that they put their defense in a terrible position that you get out there, you come back in there. And they're tired, so that's probably gonna be the most. Well, there's a few, but that one's gonna be the most interesting matchup. And you got Chase Young screaming that he wants Brady, so it's gonna be. I think that might be the best game on Saturday night. And then Colts and Bills. Now, for any game that has a potential of an upset, it's this one because the Colts got the number 1 ranked defense. Their defense has been balling. And then the Bills are coming in with this high-powered offense that just put up 53 against the Dolphins, and a quarterback that's in the MVP conversation. But the Colts running game with I think his name's N'Keal Hines, and then Jonathan Taylor. Man, that guy, he had like 250 the other day.
I haven't watched much of the Colts.
Oh, man.
I've been watching a lot of the Bills.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good quality game. Like you said, number 1 defense versus one of the best offenses in the game.
Yeah.
Allen has been balling. A lot of people predicted him not to play as well as he did this season.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a wild card, but he's figured it out. His mechanics is better than they were, and that's why he's playing better football. So.
And the saying, when you get a good... you get a wide receiver. You get a number 1 wide receiver.
Well, he had 3 touchdowns.
He can make you.
Last game?
Who Diggs?
Diggs, yeah.
Let me check. I don't think so.
I thought it was. I could be wrong.
I think it might have been the Pats game.
Alright. I don't know.
Because I don't think he played that much.
Alright.
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't. There was a Pats game.
Alright, it was all just blended in.
Yeah, but this is what it looks like when you have a number 1 receiver. Because Diggs has made their life a whole lot easier, their offense, because he's having guys play deep, so they can't put 8 in the box. They're able to run the ball. They're able to utilize the play action, and then Josh Allen, he got some motor. He can move too. So it's gonna be an interesting matchup. But usually when we see number 1 defense against a high-powered offense, the defense always comes out on top.
That's all the time. Defense wins championships, my man.
Yeah, and I like the Colts. I mean, if Phillip Rivers wasn't their quarterback, they might have been
Buffalo.
Yeah, but yeah. All right, and then the last matchup, the Ravens and the Titans. This is these two teams got a little beef going on. It's been going on since last year. The Ravens, the Ravens early in the season had a 21-10 lead, and then they blew that lead and lost into overtime. Coaches like blah blah blah. So it's like a lot of bulletin board material, a lot of storylines in this one, and I think the Ravens have they reverted back to the team that we saw last year, as far as just beating you down with the run. And then that play action's coming, and you got guys running up the seam wide open and stuff. So the Ravens, they found their groove the last 3-4 games of the season, and it's kind of good because whenever you see a team do this, get this type of momentum going, they usually make a good run in the postseason.
Well, I mean, hopefully they stick to it because the Titans, they're not straying away from what they do, and they're gonna run down your throat.
Yeah.
And they're gonna throw it a little bit, but then passes are gonna be efficient and with some precision.
Yeah.
So with that being said, the Ravens need to figure it out because honestly, I don't like the workload they put on this man.
Yeah.
Lamar, Lamar Jackson. So if they can figure out how to just allow him to be a regular quarterback, they'll be all right.
Yeah, they I think they set a record on the other day for rushing as a team. I think they had like over 200. And what I like is they're now been using their running backs. The running back attack a lot more. So, you got J.K. Dobbins, who had 13 carries. Gus Edwards, he had 12 carries. Mark Ingram, he had 9. Lamar had 11. So they're using all those guys. It's running back by committee, but the way they use them, it's just like you don't know who's going to be in. They put one guy in who runs a certain way, then they switch it up to another guy who runs a certain way, and then you got Lamar Jackson. So it's like, and what I like about him, he's actually a little more accurate now. He's getting a little. His accuracy the last few games has been a lot better earlier since when they had that struggle.
He's able to actually focus on throwing the ball. You said they got a whole, I want to say plethora of running backs. So allow them to run the ball, allow him to pass the ball, and if he gets under rest, he could run.
Yeah.
But don't just have his men running and throwing.
Yeah.
Brains all over the place.
Yeah. 54 attempts for 404 yards. That's how much they ran on this past Sunday against the Steelers. Now I don't think they're gonna be doing not the Steelers, the Bengals.
I know what you're saying.
I don't think they're gonna be doing that this weekend, but you're gonna get a heavy dose of the running game with these guys.
I'm just not all in with the Ravens. I don't know. There's something about them.
It's because they don't have a number one receiver. That's the problem.
That might be it then. That's
the problem. They got good receivers, but they got receivers that aren't number one. They got guys that are slot receivers and, number two receivers, and they got tight ends, but they don't like these guys. The Titans have two receivers, A.J. Brown and Corey Coleman, I believe his name is.
I don't know.
So, yeah, those are two, one and two receivers, so it's easy. You can see Ryan Tannehill just, when things go rough, just throw it up to A.J. Brown because he's going to make a play. Lamar Jackson, when things go rough, I'm taking off. Pretty much.
And that's the difference, you know what I mean?
That's definitely the difference. So it is going to be an intriguing matchup. And I think we already talked about the Browns and Steelers, so that one, Pittsburgh, just stick to the game plan. Just stick to what works, because you don't want to start going into this game and doing stuff that you're not normally used to doing, and then bada boom, you're kind of not out of here. You're down like 28, 21 nothing, 24 nothing.
Talking about the Browns Steelers?
Yeah, and you don't want. I don't think the Browns are built to come back.
Nah, I just see the Browns having this crazy amount of confidence going out there just balling.
Yeah, I can see that. I see that too.
And the Steelers have been kind of tripping over themselves coming into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Steelers are going to show up.
Yeah, me either. And the biggest thing with them was when they lost Bud Dupree and Devin Bush, because those are their two edge rushers, and those guys got a lot of pressure. Granted, T.J. Watt, he led the league in sacks this season, but those two linebackers, they did so much for them. So it's tough replacing them, but we'll see how the Steelers defense do. Their secondary is still pretty solid, so we shall see with that. All right, we're going to go to the +1 interview, and we're going to talk to Stevie Patrick about some high school basketball that's not happening. So
I thought you had something to talk about.
+1, and we're going to be back. Hello and welcome to another edition of the +1 interview, and I'm here with Lynn Tech head coach Stevie Patrick Jr. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, brother. How are you doing?
I'm good. You know, I can't complain. All right, coach. No, I mean, we are here in January, and usually there'd be basketball going on, and as of now, there's no basketball. Well, in Lynn, only St. Mary's is playing, but there's some communities that got basketball, some doesn't. Just as a coach, what do you make of all this happening right now? I know everybody wants to be safe, but what do you make of it?
What I make of it is, I just feel like everybody's everybody's intentions is for the embetterment of the kids. It's unfortunate that, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. It's unfortunate that that the kids can't play right now, but at the same time, I feel like it's keeping them safe too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, safety is the biggest thing. That's one thing.
That's number one.
But a lot of the frustrations that I've heard from coaches is in the decision of having Lynn Public Schools not participate in winter sports. There was no communications from the city and from the health department with the coaches, with the athletic directors, and not even a review of the guidelines that the MIAA put forward into, able to have winter sports.
From what I know, no, there wasn't like an official meeting or anything like that. I'm sure they was corresponding with principals and athletic directors. I'm sure that was being done, through City Hall and the Department of Public Health. But no, there was no official meeting with coaches and athletic directors. And all the information we got from the MIAA, we had to do the research on our own, really. Mm-hmm. There might have been a few emails sent, but we, nobody was like, you need to look at these emails, or, we need to figure out how we can, get this done. No one even talked to us about whether we wanted to do it or not. You mm-hmm. understand what I'm saying? It just, decision was made by the city. And what I think frustrates a lot of people is they're saying it's a public health thing, or public health makes the decision. And if you make that decision, then you have to make that decision for everyone. I'm happy that there are some athletics in Lynn, but the other side of me feels like if it's a city thing, then it's a city thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as a coach, how what do you tell your players? How are you getting them through this time? Because it's this time, it's school, basketball practice, then games on certain days. So now it's they don't have that extracurricular activities. Some kids that look forward to just playing, they might have the mindset of just like, what am I even going to school for?
Yeah, I can't speak for every student. I can speak for the ones that I've spoken to, or the ones that play on the Lynn Tech basketball team. A lot of them were doing a lot of workouts on their own, going to the YMCA while they could, while the restrictions were off. Going to the YMCA, putting in the work. Some of them playing on AAU teams. To supplement the time in the winter. I mean, I don't believe there's any AAU going on right now. None of my kids are playing AAU right now, but I also want to give a shout out to the community of Lynn, because there are people out there trying to make sure that these kids stay off the streets, also stay in shape. I really don't want to name drop, but these people know who they are, and I just want to give them a shout out.
Yeah, because that is one of the biggest things, especially for a community like Lynn with the sports program. This is a big escape for a lot of the kids, because some of them, if it wasn't for playing all these years, or even those that would be seniors, if it weren't for playing, they'd be doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, and we've seen it too. Yeah, and you being from this community, you've seen it too many times, so the repercussions of when something like this happens.
Yes, sir, and that's why I want to give those people that are looking for things for these kids to participate in, and staying in the community and handing things out. I want to give these people a shout out. And I also want to talk about my seniors who have been in the program for 4 years that worked so hard for their opportunity to play varsity and to play competitively and go for a conference championship and a state championship. Some of these kids dreamt about it for 3 years, and this is their 4th year, and they're ready as seniors, and now they can't participate. They worked hard to make the team. You know what I mean? And that's the part that breaks my heart about everything. Because I have a tight relationship with some of them, and we text at least 2 or 3 times a week. And just about personal stuff, not even really about basketball, just about how life is going and how they're handling the COVID crisis. And, it's new for everyone. And I know we're going to get through it eventually. There's talks of maybe even things going on in the spring. So
I know. I know somebody asked me this. I wanted to ask you if this was true, that there was an email sent to coaches about possibly playing in March to like April. I don't know if you received any information on that.
I'm gonna be truthful and honest. I heard the same thing, but I heard it from a student. So when I heard it from the student, I put in an email to someone, one of my superiors, to see if that was true as well. And my superior hasn't heard anything about that either. So,
so right now it's all just up in the air, and
right.
And it's also interesting because I think next month they're supposed to have football, but I still don't understand why. How should I put this? Why any student athlete that's already signed their letter of intent and have already committed, who are seniors right now, there's no reason for them to play. You know what I'm saying? Like for those students that are they've got their college acceptance, they've gotten their college scholarship. There's no reason for them to even play next month. So that's one thing I was really confused as to why they would have a football season in February. Because if my thing is, if we're not gonna have it, just don't have it and wait till the fall, because
I believe it's to save face and for the underclassmen. You know what I mean? To be able to earn those scholarships that those seniors already signed off on. My son, he goes to a school in Danvers, private school, and they're playing football and basketball right now. He's a sophomore, so I think it's good. I think it's good that they're going to have that football season for these kids. Maybe not the seniors. I think it's a good idea if the seniors already made commitments and signed that they shouldn't play in March. No, they should just get ready to go to, because they have spring ball in college, summer ball in college. So when they're on their way, they might as well just get in shape and, go see Kenny or something, work with him and just get ready.
Yeah. All right. So, as we're moving forward, just, is there any more talks, or is there any meetings planned to find out what's going on moving forward? Can you just tell me a little about that if you have any information?
Yes, there is a meeting with the school committee, the person who runs the athletics that's on the school committee, with my athletic director this week, and he's going to give me some news. From what I hear, they're communicating with each other every week. I honestly don't believe that, with the rich history in Lynn of basketball, that, they're not trying to make it happen. I mean, we have the state champ, we have the back-to-back state champions, in Lynn English. We have, St. Mary's, who's playing now, another dominant team within the state. Also, Lynn Classical, who competes in the state. The KIP, who also competes well in the state. And also Lynn Tech, that competes well in the state. So, I don't think that they're completely ignoring us. I just think the circumstance is very new to us. We've never dealt with anything like this. Okay. So, we're just trying to, and when I say we, is because we're a family. We're all a community, and I feel like we're all trying to figure it out. I don't think that, we're totally being ignored when it comes to this subject.
Yeah, understandable. All right. Hey, man, appreciate the time. I appreciate you taking the time.
Listen, Mook. I want to come in. I want to come on with you and Todd one day, man, and talk some basketball and football and boxing. And I love sports, man. You got to get me on the show.
We'll work something out. February.
I've been begging you for like 2-3 years.
We'll get you on. There's some January, February, some college stuff happening. But
I'll wear my mask. Don't worry about it.
We'll figure out a day, and we'll get you here. All right.
And before you go, I just want to let you know, you do a great job for the community. I see you out there, on foot. When we had the protest, you was there with the camera, ready to, do your thing, man. And we appreciate you.
Yes.
Okay. I just want you to know that, and we think you do an excellent job, for our community, and keep up doing the great work. Okay.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. But be on the lookout. We'll get you. The NFL postseason is here, so just stay sharp.
I'll be ready. I'll be ready. Tell TB I'll be ready.
I'll let him know. We'll get you.
All right.
You guys been watching the Plus One, and you guys been watching the Plus One interview. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, brother.
No problem. All right, and we are back, and we are going to go around the world of sports. So there's been some stuff happening in the world of sports. All right, so first, let's go into college football around the world. College football. Devonta Smith, he won the Heisman Trophy last night. They had the ceremony last night. It was virtual. He won it, and he was like 60-1. He had like a 61-1 chance of winning the Heisman when the season started. His teammate, I think Jalen Waddle, he was supposed to win it. He got hurt. Oh. And then he just took over. He literally came out of nowhere to win it. They knew he was going to have a good season just because he's fast. He's crazy fast. So he's the first wide receiver to win it since Desmond Howard won it in 1991. Think about it. Like the last 10 Heisman Trophy winners have been quarterbacks and running backs. And I don't know. I think Charles Woodson might have been the last defensive player to win it.
I'm gonna say he might have been.
He might have been.
That's the last defensive player I remember winning it.
Me too.
Woodson's my guy.
Yeah, that's the last. Yeah, that's the last one I remember too. Yeah, that's the last one I can remember.
He did everything though. Yeah. Wide receiver, kick returner, quarterback.
And Ndamukong Suh was in. He was in the conversation. I think he was a finalist. Okay. But he didn't win it. So, and then Trevor Lawrence didn't win it. This is it's so hard to win the Heisman. Just think about some of the quarterbacks. Like Andrew Luck never won a Heisman Trophy, and he became the number one overall pick. And he was like one of the most highly rated quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, he lost 2 games in his college career and never won it. So it's to show you.
Hold up, he didn't win his freshman year?
Nah.
Who won it?
Shoot, I don't know.
Are you positive he didn't win his freshman year?
I'm positive.
I know they won it.
No, they won the title, the national title.
He never won a Heisman?
No, he never won it.
Well,
yeah.
But you got people like Tim Tebow winning 2 of them. So I think the Heisman really politics, man. I'm not saying Tim Tebow wasn't nice because he was nice in Florida, but they were all type of players.
Yeah, he was surrounded, man.
I mean, just saying in college football, there was all type of players. So it's
all type of players on his team that could have won it.
Yeah, that too.
I can't wait till they do the 30 for 30 on that team.
They might not.
They need to.
They definitely need to.
If you want to talk about some characters, man, imagine being a coach on that team. Like, what?
So,
Woo. All right, Alabama and Ohio State will be playing for the national title game. This will be the second meeting between these two teams in the college football playoffs. The last one happened in the very first ever college football playoffs when they played in 2016. Ohio State won it. Ohio State had both teams. There was a bunch of NFL players on both teams.
No, Ohio State was hammer down on them.
There was a bunch of, I think that was Zeke Elliott, Joey Bosa, Michael Thomas. There was just a lot of NFL players that played in that game. All right. Trevor Lawrence, he declared for the NFL draft. Not a surprise. A lot of people, he's probably one of the highest rated quarterbacks coming out since Andrew Luck. that the scouts have. So he's gonna end up as a Jaguar unless he pulls an Eli Manning and say I don't want to play there. Or Eli Manning and John Elway say I'm not playing there. Which I wouldn't blame him if he did that. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, look at this. Texas, they fired Tom Herman, and then they go hire a guy who was known for coming on the job a little intoxicated. He got fired for that. So Steve Sarkisian, who's the offensive coordinator for Alabama, he got the job, and everybody's just like, huh?
Hold on, what are you time out? The guy that they hired be like coming to practice drunk?
He used to come to games drunk when he was coaching at USC. I think that was one of the reasons they fired him. But he's just not like, and also he's just an average coach. He's not like a good coach.
Remember, you talk about how they like to recycle coaches. They don't want to give certain coaches an opportunity to start their career. They keep bringing in guys with shaky past. I don't understand how they kind of overlook this. Especially you're supposed to be a professional. Yeah, you should never be coming to games intoxicated. Maybe practice hungover because it's early in the morning. But like games, like come on, hold yourself accountable and be professional.
Yeah, and he's just not that great of a coach. Like one thing that Texas problem is they've been having a hard time recruiting in state. You know, all the talent that comes out of Texas, they've been having a hard time keeping them in Texas. So now you're bringing in this guy in. I don't think recruits are going to be excited to play for him. Just he's the offensive coordinator at Alabama, but I don't think recruits are going to be excited.
I don't think recruits from Texas will be like that ecstatic to play for a lot of these old coaches. Just because they need to tell Vince Young come be a coach because like they might want to play for him. He won a national championship for Texas. You know what I mean? Like things like that. Like guys who've played, it's time for them to start. You know what I mean? Getting in the ring of coaching just because like these young guys watch these guys play. Yeah. They didn't watch these old guys play. They don't even care about what they did in college, to be honest with you. So
and the thing is, the guy they fired, when they hired him, they thought recruits would be excited to play for him just because of what he did at the University of Houston and how he got a lot of players literally from Houston. Half his, a lot of players from in-state, they thought he would help the in-state recruiting, but it was just like...
This is what NCAA honestly thinks? Alright, people. Kids like playing with somebody they can relate with. Yeah. Kids like playing with somebody that could show them how to do some things. So you guys getting these old coaches that can't even run on the field, these kids don't want to play for them because it's one of those things like, how do you know? You can't show me. Yeah. Because that's how I was when I was younger sometimes with certain coaches. But then when they showed me, or that I could see that their coaching helped us win games, I'd be more receptive to listening to them. But these guys is like Division I NFL players. They don't want to play for some guy that you can't even YouTube. Yeah, like it's past that time. Yeah, like
interesting time for Texas. How they have fallen since Vince Young and then Colt McCoy. Even Colt McCoy got them to a national title game. So
Colt was alright.
Yeah, he was nice, but ever since then it's just they just been when's Texas gonna be back, which would be never. All right. All right, some NFL news. There were some coaches fired. All right, Adam Gase, he got fired to no surprise. Doug Marrone, he got fired to no surprise. Anthony Lynn of the Chargers, he got fired to no surprise. You lose so many close games. Yeah, he was just like, we all just saw it coming because they just his whole time there, they just lost too many close games.
We couldn't even save you, brother.
Yeah, we couldn't. Vouch for you. So, it was one of those days for the NFL. So we'll see who wants these opening coaching jobs because the Falcons got an opening too. So there's teams with some opening jobs though.
The Falcons only got an opening at the coaching position
and the GM.
What about everywhere else? Alright, just wondering. That whole organization.
No, we're not gonna talk bad about Georgia since they actually did something right yesterday.
What are we talking about the Hawks? I mean, what about the Falcons?
I mean, still
the whole state. Please, even Georgia don't care for the Falcons after what they did in the Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh! All right, some NBA news. Steph Curry and Tobias Harris, they were named the Eastern and Western Conference Players of the Week. The Tobias Harris one was really interesting to me because I looked at his stats and then I looked at some of the other guys' stats. I looked at Tatum's stats. I looked at Brown stats. I looked at Embiid stats. I was just like, oh, okay.
I haven't really.
Tobias Harris, he's still on the Sixers.
He's still on the Sixers? I mean,
they're 5-1 right now. But if you look at the stats, you're just like, okay.
I mean, they also gave Steve Nash MVP back to back. Granted, I love me some Steve Nash, but Kobe's Kobe, man.
Yeah.
So let's be real here.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, Steph Curry, he scored the most points in the season so far with 62 the other night. It looked like he just said, you know what, until you guys figure it out, I'm just gonna score. Cause
I mean, he should know that coming to the game.
well, I think he was trying too much just to get them all.
Well, they got spat by 40, didn't they?
Oh, like 25 or something.
Oh, something. You seen his face on the bench? You should know better. You on national TV, bro. Don't get embarrassed like that.
Yeah, so I think he just figured he was just like, you know what, until we figure out the offense and how get everybody more acclimated, I'm just gonna score, and that's what they're gonna need him to do.
You know what, AI?
That's it.
You better take a
But you know, some guys they want to be like, they don't want to take every shot and just. But sometimes I think Iman Shumpert said it. He said his dad told him like, sometimes you just gotta leave people behind and hope they follow you.
Nah, for real, bro. That's what it is.
Yeah, so that was a good one, and also the Celtics. Yo, Peyton Pritchard, this dude.
Yeah,
I said that 4 years.
Average like 24 games.
Yeah, I think
I watched Oregon a lot. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, LJ Figueroa's over there now.
Yeah,
from St. John's.
Okay.
Lawrence product. You know what I mean?
I think he was like the player of the year in Oregon coming out of high school. Him and Tatum were in the same recruiting class. I just realized that.
One guy spent 1 year in college. The other guy polished his game up, and he's not 6'10".
Yeah. So the way he's been playing pretty good. And now that Campbell was hurt, Jeff Teague was hurt, Marcus Smart was hurt, so they had to play. They gave him he had a career high 23 the other day. So I like how they play.
I just like they got a guy that's actually out there playing, because they always say the Celtics need one white guy on the bench, and it's like, nah, they don't need that. They need a guy that can produce on the bench. And I always like Pritchard though. He can ball.
Yeah, he can ball. He getting people involved too. This is like, you don't understand how much a point guard makes people's lives a whole lot easier. Like I think Brown and Tatum could probably get like 6 to 8 points easy. Just from cutting to the basket. So I like how they're playing. The problem with this team is just they need to fix up the rebounding. That's it. I think they should play Robert Williams more, just because he's the most athletic guy on there. Get more rebounds. I mean, you got that vertical leap like he does, and he challenges every shot. So, but I like how they're playing now. Tatum and Brown finally realized like we got to score, and they're doing that well. I think they both averaging like 26. So interesting to see how this team unfolds when Kemba gets back and they got everybody healthy.
I've been liking, definitely. I've been liking, Tatum late game situations.
Yeah.
A lot of people last year was getting on his back. And I'm like, yo, he's mad young. Next year he'll figure it out. He'll make some game winners, and he did that early in the season.
Yeah, he's already got the most.
So that's why I don't pay many people much mind when they talk to you about basketball unless you play basketball.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't even hear you half the time.
I just like Tatum. I just like that he's going. I think both of these guys are realizing that not too many people can stay in front of them, especially Tatum. He's realizing his length. He just gets to the cup whenever he feels like, because he's either getting fouled or he's getting a bucket. And I think it showed when he had when he scored 40, he had like 20 free throw attempts. Something like that. So these guys, they're finally maturing. Granted, he's only 22 and Brown's 24. So this is like, they've been in the league for a while. So I think that Eastern Conference Finals, I think, matured them. Like, they realizing that they need to go another level just to
they got to put more focus on in-game situation.
Definitely.
And the game situation, I mean.
Definitely.
More focus on that.
Yeah.
It comes with age, maturity.
Yeah, and also coaching, too. Because sometimes to put the design, I'm like, what y'all doing?
But though, when you get put out there, though, you play the game long enough to realize that this ain't going to work.
Yeah.
So you got to sometimes go do your own thing.
Yeah. All right. In college basketball, Villanova postpones 3 games. So we'll see. Another COVID stuff happening over there. So they postponed 3 games, and then the NCAA tournament, the entire tournament will be held at Indiana. So
I don't know why they just don't do college basketball like that in 4 different regions of the U.S. Granted, you might have different venues in those regions, but these people shouldn't be playing non-conference games. You should just play all conference games.
I think they are.
Well, because Coach K and them, they stopped playing non-conference when they lost one. Yeah, so it look kind of sus, you know what I mean? But it's like you shouldn't play. You should play all conference games. It's kind of like how college football was doing, just to make it easy on yourself. And with basketball, everybody want to be around basketball players. Yeah. You got to make sure that they're around their teammates, the teammates only. You might have to put them on some type of curfew in regards to being around other students around the campus.
Definitely.
For one, the season's bringing y'all money, so you got to make sure that money comes in. Well, it's gonna be an issue.
And also there was, like early on in the non-conference, like Boston College, their non-conference, it was all in one site. Everybody was in one site. Yeah, they were in the they were in Mohegan Sun for like 3 or 4 days. That's where their non-conference games were, and then they had to travel. They had the ACC Big Ten Challenge. They went to Minnesota. I think that's the farthest they've gone.
All you could do what they did earlier, they was like, they played a game, they called a school that was around, that was local. I will play y'all right now, you know what I mean? Something like that might work, but it's one of them things where these kids don't have to travel too much. People have a hard time keeping their hands to themselves.
Yeah.
So once you start traveling and moving around, they start touching all type of stuff and COVID effects and boom.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so that's around the world of sports. BC plays Duke today. Man, it's not looking good for them. I looked at their schedule. And Also, I was watching North Carolina, Miami last night. Saw a local kid, Matt Cross, on there.
Yeah, I was watching that too.
I was watching that. Granted, Miami lost. They blew the game, but
he shoot the ball.
I don't know. Every time I saw it, they weren't passing. He was on the corner. He was on the corner.
Same thing.
I was like,
he a freshman though, so he got to earn his stripes.
Yeah, but Matt's a tough player, so
he'll be all right.
All right, let's go to the top 10, and we'll go top 10. Alrighty. Okay, it's about that time. We make our predictions for the wild card weekend. All right, we're going to start it off. Indiana at Buffalo. This is the first game of wild card weekend on Saturday.
I got Buffalo, man.
You got Buffalo? My head is telling me to go with the Colts. My head's telling me to go with the Colts. But it's this Phillip Rivers factor that just doesn't sit well with me, and I'm going to pick Buffalo because of that. Rams at Seattle. I'm going to go with the Rams. And they're probably going to lose, but I'm going to go with the Rams because of Jared Goff. I'm picking the Rams because of their defense, not because of their quarterback.
Goff got all the talent in the world. He's put it together.
No, he's just sorry. Another one, Tampa Bay versus Washington.
Redskins.
You know they're not the Reds. You know they're not.
Oh, my bad. Team from Washington. I'm native blood, even I mess up.
My head is telling me Washington is going to win this game because of their front four and the pressure they get. But the way the Bucs has been moving that ball the past couple of weeks, I'm just going to go with the Bucs.
Talking about, what is their name then? The team from Washington?
Yeah.
Nah, they gotta be like the Washington, like maroon helmets or something. Like, you gotta give me something.
They're the team from Washington.
I'm calling them maroon helmets.
Or that.
Like, come on.
The maroon helmets. He goes with the maroon helmets. I'm going with the Pirates.
Whatever color red that is, scarlet helmets, something like that's ridiculous. Team from Washington. You couldn't think of a name.
All right, and Chicago. No, Baltimore, Tennessee. This is in Tennessee.
Tennessee.
You got Tennessee. I think Lamar Jackson's gonna get his first playoff victory because, I'm just going with them. Chicago versus the Saints.
I feel like my pick's gonna be bad. I got Chicago.
You got another thing. They have this quarterback factor named Mitchell Trubisky that just can't allow me to choose them. So I'm going with the Saints in this one. And then the last game of Wild Card Weekend is Cleveland versus Pittsburgh.
I got no logic. Browns, baby.
He's been high on the Browns. I'm
going with all the upsets, man.
I'm going to go with the home team, Pittsburgh Steelers, and that is a wrap. All right. Well, maybe we might be right, we might be wrong. We'll see. All right. Go to After the Whistle Instagram page, LCTV After the Whistle. We got college basketball highlights, got post-game interviews from college basketball games. We've got some stuff up there. Go check it out. Lynn Community Television Facebook page. Go there. We got updates on COVID. We got updates on what's happening at City Hall. Updates on what's happening around the city. Go to Lynn Community Television Facebook page. LynnTV.org if you want to watch everything that we've done. And past shows, all that good stuff. Just go there and follow him on Instagram, Mr. Burton23. Follow me, Mukala K on Instagram. And we will be back next week. And we might feel good about our picks or we might not. But have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.